The air inside the arena was thick with a palpable, electric anticipation. This night was scripted to be another monumental chapter in the storied career of Drew McIntyre, a spectacle of raw power and dominant storytelling. The house lights dipped, casting the roaring crowd into a sea of shadows and flashing phones. The commentators' voices crescendoed, hyping an entrance that was mere seconds from shaking the very foundations of the WWE universe. The stage was set for a warrior's arrival. But behind the curtain, in the sterile, fluorescent-lit corridors where the real drama often brews, the script was being torn apart. The pre-show calm was shattered by a sound that was utterly alien to the controlled chaos of a live production, a deafening, thunderous crash of rending metal and shattering equipment, followed not by the boos or cheers of a crowd, but by the genuine, terrified screams of crew members. Cameras, always hungry for the unscripted, swiveled towards the commotion, and the live feed captured a scene of visceral, real-world horror. There, sprawled amidst a tomb of twisted steel and sparking electrical wires, lay Jacob Fatu. The Samoan werewolf, a man whose on-screen presence was defined by an unbreakable ferocity, was now utterly motionless, pinned beneath the brutal weight of a collapsed scaffolding structure. The stark contrast was chilling. His immense power was rendered vulnerable, his fearsome aura replaced by the grim reality of blood trickling from the corner of his mouth, a dark, crimson stain spreading on the concrete beneath him. Pandemonium erupted with the force of a wildfire. The controlled environment of a global broadcast dissolved into raw, human reaction. Producers abandoned their headsets, shouting frantically for medical personnel. Referees, moments away from officiating a match, sprinted towards the wreckage. Security teams materialized, their primary duty shifting from crowd control to creating a human barrier around the catastrophe. This was not a storyline. The raw, unvarnished fear on every face confirmed it. This was terrifyingly real. Into this vortex of chaos stormed Nick Aldis, his face a taut mask of fury and disbelief. What the hell happened here? He barked, his voice cutting through the din. Without a moment's hesitation, he dropped to his knees beside Fatu, his managerial composure gone, replaced by a fierce urgency. He gripped Fatu's arm, his voice dropping to an intense, focused whisper. Jacob, look at me. Did you see who did this? Tell me something, man. The entire backstage area seemed to hold its breath, leaning in for a fragment of a clue. But before a single syllable could escape, the arena was consumed by a sound that was both iconic and, in that moment, deeply sinister, the deafening, unmistakable blast of Drew McIntyre's entrance theme. The timing was hauntingly, impeccably precise. Aldis's head snapped up, his eyes narrowing into slits as he stared in the direction of the stage. His jaw clenched, a low, guttural mutter escaping his lips, "No way," before he rose to his feet and stormed off without another word, a man possessed by a dark suspicion. The broadcast, with surreal whiplash, cut to the arena. There stood Drew McIntyre, bathed in pyro and adulation, his sword raised high to the cheers of thousands. But backstage, the celebration was a world away. An unease as thick as fog had settled. The timing of his music felt far too calculated to be mere coincidence. What do you think that timing meant? Was it a cover, a distraction, or a message? Let us know your first impression in the comments right now. The digital world caught fire instantly. Hashtags like #who attacked Fatu and #McIntyre involved began trending globally, transforming the WWE universe into a legion of amateur detectives. Every frame of the footage was dissected. A shadowy figure was spotted slipping out of frame. A gloved hand was seen tugging at a critical cable. The theories were as varied as they were fervent. WWE officials issued a terse statement confirming an incident and an internal investigation, a response that only poured gasoline on the speculative inferno. The deafening silence from both McIntyre and the vanished Aldis deepened the mystery into an abyss. As the show lurched forward, McIntyre's in-ring performance only added more layers to the enigma. He fought with a ferocity that seemed darker and more controlled. When he secured his victory, there was no celebration, only a cold, penetrating stare into the hard camera, an expression that fans could not quite decipher. Were you convinced by Drew's demeanor? Did he look like a guilty man, or someone who knew he was being set up? Drop your theory below. In the days that followed, the puzzle only grew more complex. Jacob Fatu was hospitalized, expected to recover, but his silence was a void filled with rampant speculation. Backstage leaks alleged he had been in a heated argument with an unnamed superstar just before the collapse. The incident was no longer being viewed as an isolated event, but as the potential spark for a locker room civil war. The narrative had irrevocably fractured. Was Nick Aldis a concerned official, or a puppeteer masterfully manipulating the narrative? Was Drew McIntyre a victim of circumstance, or a mastermind using chaos as a smokescreen? Or was there a third, unseen force at play? We want to break this case wide open with your help. So, what's your final verdict? Accident theory. Was this simply a tragic case of faulty equipment and horrific timing? The framing theory. Was McIntyre set up to take the fall by Aldis or another superstar? The mastermind theory. Is Drew himself the architect of this chaos, playing a dangerous long game? The faction theory. Is this the first strike from a new, shadowy group aiming to take over WWE? The truth is still hidden. So, we're turning to you, the most dedicated fans in the world. What is the real story behind the backstage collapse? Let us know your full, detailed breakdown in the comments. Every theory brings us closer to the truth. If you live for unraveling mysteries like this and want to be the first to know when new evidence emerges, you can't afford to miss a single update. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you're always in the know. This story is far from over, and the next clue could drop at any moment.